After the release of What If Season 3 and its series finale, I have been seeing a lot of hate towards a particular character, Captain Carter, our own beloved Peggy, who has made her way to the season finale of What If. Now, people on the internet have been calling her various names like industry plant that never worked, to a more affectionate, more intimate names like wife. But it is mostly hate. Now, I wanted to see if these hateful comments on Twitter and on the internet are as empty as the skulls of some brainless hater who screams MCU, MCU every time they see a female protagonist. Or is there anything more to it? Now, I personally like Captain Carter like all the other characters in the MCU, and when I saw all this hate on the internet towards her, I had to ask myself before forming an opinion. And that made me realize that the problem with Captain Carter is misunderstood. I can sum it up in one sentence. Captain Carter feels weird. Let me explain what I mean by that. The episode in Season 2 where Steve punches the time stone on Thanos' hand and travels back in time is one of the better episodes of What If. That is one of those What If Captain Carter episodes that I like. But every story that included Captain Carter felt like its own story in the beginning, like in its own universe, but somehow, some way, writers found a way to include her in the story. This character that is exiled and has no universe becomes the savior of these other universes, despite of having many different and versatile characters that could save this universe instead of Captain Carter. These individual stories stop focusing on these other characters, and somehow Captain Carter becomes the most important part of that story, of that universe. Also, another reason a lot of people started hating Captain Carter's character after the end of Season 2 was because they gave her all the powers of all the beings that ever existed by the finale. They gave her Infinity Stones, Hela's helmet, you name it, she got it. And that made her weird. Like I said, Captain Carter is weird. Don't believe me? Let me give you another example. In Secret Invasion, when we were introduced to Emilia Clarke's character Gaia, we weren't immediately dismissive of her character. We started disliking her when the character didn't have to offer anything to the story, so they simply took each and every superhero's power and made that like an all-in-one product. A product that they clearly didn't know what to do about or how to define its purpose in the story. Same thing has been done to Captain Carter in all the stories of What If from Season 2. Instead of her interacting with these different characters in different universes, she was just taking them over. She was the most important thing happening in that universe. You know what would have been more interesting? If Uatu the Watcher took Captain Carter under her wing, since she is already an exile, made her an apprentice and gradually taught her on how to become a Watcher. And then, when Captain Carter saw all the other universes as the Watcher, and she saw how many lives she could save if she only interfered and not just watched, that is when she and the Watcher start interfering with the outcome of these other universes. And then the three Watchers had to intervene and stop Uatu and Captain Carter because they want the Watchers to just watch. But do you know what would have happened if the writers went on with this story? The show would be called Captain Carter and not What If. And that is one of the biggest problems of this show. This show doesn't feel like a What If. It just feels like a Captain Carter show at the end, where Captain Carter does something amazing at the finale with a sacrifice. Just like how Secret Invasion feels like, where two Skrulls are fighting over Avengers DNA instead of the Secret Invasion and the hatred that Skrulls are having towards the false promises that were made to them. I am very concerned if this 6 Infinity Stone wielding Watcher level Captain Carter shows up in Secret Wars or Doomsday. I am pretty sure a lot of people will not like it if she feels disconnected to the story. And that is what I think is the problem with Captain Carter. She is not just an industry plant, but just a puzzle piece that feels disconnected, yet somehow forced to be important to the story. Also, let me talk about the finale of the series. The finale makes it seem like this was the Watcher's story all along. But if it was, then the Watcher must have intervened on the stories that really matter. He intervened at times that felt so lifeless and unnecessary, especially in Season 3. I know if they did the opposite in Season 3 ending where the whole universe was at stake, that would have been such a cliche problem. But the few changes that the Watcher made in different universes, in Season 3 at least, didn't matter to me. But let me know, what do you think about Captain Carter or the show as whole? Do you think Captain Carter is unnecessary, or she is an important piece that is not being written properly? Let me know in the comments below. Till then, Dhru will review the next one. Bye bye. But every story